Shalom, everyone. A couple of weeks ago, my youngest son, Benny, came over to me and said, Daddy, I want to learn how to play hockey. Now, a couple of years ago, my oldest son, Akiva, well, he did the same thing. He asked to learn to play hockey. And, we did the whole thing, the whole spiel, learned how to skate, play hockey, and he ended up playing a couple seasons of ice hockey. And it was such a great experience for him. He learned a lot. It was really a positive experience. So when my younger son, Benny, came over to me a couple of weeks ago and he wants to learn to play hockey, we said, sure, no problem. It's going to do wonders for him. So in order to learn to play hockey, first need to learn how to skate. So we had to get him the ice skates and all the gear and stuff like that. And he went for a couple of weeks. Got coached, went to a program, a learn to skate program, and he did great. And he graduated that first just intro level. And it's time for him to start. This was about a week or two ago. It's time for him to start the next stage. It's not really so advanced. It's still very beginner. He could get on the ice, but now to learn a little bit more. And he was about to start sort of, I guess, the second semester of ice skating training. And that got me thinking. We're about to read the story in the Sefer Shemos. We read about Moshe Rabbeinu, the great teacher of the Jewish people, Moshe. And the story of the Exodus narrative, of course, he's the central figure and the great leader of the Jewish people. Now, what's remarkable is if you study the Medrash, of course, tells us what do we know about Moshe is that he doesn't really come on the scene to really be that leader to take the Jewish people out of Egypt. It's not until he's 80 years old. And we know he dies at 120. So he's 2/3 of the way through his life before he becomes the Moshe that we all know. Now, I'm sure for those first 80 years, he was doing amazing things. I'm sure he was, a very pious, righteous scholar doing all sorts of amazing things. But in terms of his contribution to the world that we know it, Moshe doesn't become Moshe till much later on in life. And I've always found that to be such an inspiring lesson is, you can teach old dogs new tricks. We can all learn to do new things later on in life. But the truth of the matter is, I think naturally for many, if not most, if not all of us, we're hesitant to pick up new ideas or new activities or new projects because we create certain identities to ourselves. And as we get a little bit older in life, we develop these identities and it becomes harder. We become a little bit more resistant to taking on new projects and new ideas. And that, of course, is not helpful. We always need to be reinventing ourselves. It's never too late to start a new project, and it's never too late to improve and to become, someone that we weren't before. That's such a fundamental idea in Judaism. We should always seek growth and we should never be stagnant. And when my son comes over to me and he's about to start his second semester, as it were, of ice skating lessons, it dawned on me, here I am, I guess I'll face it. I'll admit it. I'm middle aged and I've always wanted to ice skate. Now I can get onto the ice and I know how to move and I'm pretty comfortable on the ice going around and around in circles pretty fast. I'm fine. I don't need to hold on to the boards. I'm okay going, on the ice, but that's it. I don't know how to stop. Don't know how to go backwards. I don't really know how to do much ice skating. And it dawned on me, I would really love something I've always wanted to do is I've always wanted to learn to ice skate. And I was thinking about all this and I'm like, you know what? Doesn't matter. I'm in my 40s. It's not too late. I'm going to learn to ice skate. So of course, what did I do? I signed up. I got myself a couple of private lessons and now I'm in, I'm signed. I signed myself up to join my son, Benny, and I'm going to learn how to skate. And even though I'm not a little kid, I'm much older than Benny. It's never too late to start a new project. So I've learned how to. I'm in the process of learning how to ice skate. So please follow up with me and check in to see how I'm doing. But that's something that I thought was so important. Like, you know what? I'm not just going to let my past define me. I'm going to take on a new project. But of course, it's not just about ice skating. It's also about personal growth as well. To our Torah growth, our personal growth, our mitzvahs. Sometimes we define ourselves based on our past. And that's not helpful. We always need to be constantly growing. But there's a step two. There's a second part to this. When we talk about Moshe and him becoming the great leader of the Jewish people, if you recall the story, Moshe doesn't just get propelled into being this leader. We know the story of the burning bush. We read in the Torah, Moshe is walking in the desert and he comes across the burning bush. Rabbeinu Bachai, one of the classic commentaries, explains that it's very interesting what happened. Moshe sees the sneh, this bush on fire. And the Rabbeinu Bachai points out that what happens here is first Moshe sees a remarkable sight, this bush of flame. He then perceives an angel of God. And after that, he then, as it were, communicates with God's Shekhinah, with God's divine presence. Rabbeinu Bachai says this was very intentional. God wanted to lift Moshe and raise him up step by step. And Rabbeinu Bachai points out this is true in many endeavors in life. He gives an example. If you've been held in the dark for a long, long time, if you just go outside and all of a sudden look at the sun or look at the world, illuminated by the sun, it could really hurt your eyes. It could damage your eyes. What you need to do is you need to progressively get more accustomed to the brightness. You can't just go from darkness to a bright day. It'll be damaging to your eye. And Rabbeinu Bachai says it's true about that in all areas of our lives, particularly our spirituality. We need to grow with baby steps, one step at a time. We need to grow gradually, and you can't skip steps. You can't just throw Moshe and have him speak with God's Shekhinah, with God's divine presence. That would be jumping steps. Moshe needed to go step by step first, experiencing the burning bush, then a malach, an angel, and then gradually, slowly, step by step, he's able to achieve that level of communication with God's Shekhinah. And it's true about Moshe, and it's true about all of us. We need to grow step by step. So I'm thinking about, okay, I'm going to learn how to ice skate. The truth of the matter is I'm really, really a rookie. I don't know how to skate very well. So I joined the Learn to Skate program. So I showed up the other week in the Learn to Skate program. Who's there in my group? A bunch of 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, and Rabbi Meth. And it was a very humbling experience, but I actually really enjoyed it. I was reinforcing this idea. I acknowledged, I recognized that's where I am in life. When it comes to ice skating, I'm at the level of these 5 and 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds. I want to become better. I know that I can become better, but I can't skip this step. I'm holding at that level. That's where I've got to be. And I'm going to work my way up till I become, please God, a good skater. I don't know if I'm going to learn to play hockey and be an expert Wayne Gretzky here, but just to learn how to be a good ice skater, I've got to start at the beginning. I can't skip those steps. So I got on the ice with those little kids. I tried not to run over them, and I tried to be very aware of my body size and this and that, but I can't skip those steps. And it's true about ice skating. It's true about Moshe and his experience with the burning bush, but it's true with all of us and all the projects that we want to take on, especially if we take them on later on in life. And it's especially true when it comes to our spiritual growth. In terms of hockey, if I were to get on the ice and try to skip steps, I'd fall flat on my face. You learn very quickly where you're holding when you learn how to ice skate. You can't skip steps, and if you do, you fall. But when it comes to our spiritual growth and our personal growth, it's much easier to try to skip steps because we don't necessarily as quickly fall flat on our faces. But the truth of the matter is it's not helpful and it's not good for our growth if we jump in and we think we're holding at level 10 when we're really at level 1. We need to all recognize and be honest with ourselves where we're holding in our personal growth, our religious growth, our spiritual growth, or with any project. Be honest with ourselves. We can't jump in to level 10 if we're only at level 1 or level 2. We have to start with the basics and work our way up. This is such a helpful approach when it comes to all areas of growth, whether it be ice skating, whether it be Moshe seeing burning bushes, or whether it be our spiritual growth. Let's all remember we can't skip steps.